In this video, we are going to continue with Java selection using if-else statements. In the previous video, we looked at the simple if statement, where if a condition was true, we'll execute a true block. We also looked at the if-else syntax, where if the condition was true, we'll execute the true block, but if it was false, we are going to execute another block, which is the one after the else statement. We also looked at the block scope, where we saw that the place where we declare our variable will affect where this variable is available in. So if we declare the variable inside our true block, that means it's only available inside that true block. Today we are continuing with if-else f, where we have more than two categories for our data. So before we were checking if the password was correct or not. So it's either correct or either not correct. Today we'll look at how we can have more than two categories for our data and how we can deal with that using if-else f. We'll also look at how we can have a nested if statement, so having an if statement inside another if statement, whether inside the true block or inside the false block. And we'll look at a problem called the dangling else, where you have an else statement that does not have an if statement that it belongs to. So what we saw before in our if statements, the data was falling into two mutually exclusive categories. So the data is either a true or false. So either the password is correct or the password was incorrect. If we had data that falls into multiple mutually exclusive categories, more than two categories, and the program should perform different operations for each set of data, in that case, we will have if-else f. So, for example, we wanted to determine the grade based on a numeric grade. So my data is not either above 50 or below 50. We might have a grade between 50 and 60 that we want to assign it a D, a grade between 60 and 70 that we want to assign a C, and so on. Or if we wanted to determine the ticket price for child, adult, and senior. So it's not either he's a child or not. We can have the user as a child, a user that is an adult, or a user that is a senior. So it's not two categories anymore. It's not true or false anymore. We have more than one category, so it's multiple sets of data that are mutually exclusive in our program. So my syntax will look like this. I have the if statement followed by the first condition. If that condition is true, we'll execute that true block. And then we are skipping the rest of these else statements. If this first condition is not true, we have else, but it's not one else, we have else f. So we have another condition that we want to check. So we check the first condition, it's not true, so we'll go to check another condition. If that condition, condition 2, was true, we'll execute the true block for that condition, and then we are skipping. So we can have multiple conditions now. It's not only one condition, we can have multiple conditions, and each condition starts after the first one starts with else f. At the end, after we are done with all the conditions, we have a false block. So if none of these conditions were true, we have the last false block, which is else, and this will be the false block for all the other conditions. So all these previous conditions were false, and then we will execute this else block. So if we look at our flow of control, if the first condition is true, we'll execute that true block for condition 1, and then we are going outside to the next statement after that. If that condition was false, we'll go to the second condition and check it. If it's true, we'll execute the true block for that condition and then move on to the statements after this if-else f syntax. If it was false, we'll continue with the next condition. So we'll keep going until the condition n. And then if the last condition was false, we can have an optional false block, so the last else statement, and that will be executed if all the other conditions were all the previous conditions were false. So let's look at this example to understand the difference between if-else and if-else f. So let's say we have a bus system here, and we started by assuming that we have only two groups. Either you are a child or either you are an adult. So if the age is less than 18, you will be considered a child, so you'll be paying for a child ticket. And then if you are over 18 or 18 and over, you'll be paying for an adult ticket. So in this case, we'll just be using an if-else statement because we have two categories only. You are either a child or an adult. Now, in the other scenario here, we're also considering seniors who are over 55. So if you are under 18, you'll be a child. If you are greater than 18, but less than 55, you'll be considered an adult. And if you are greater than 55, you'll be considered as a senior. So we have three groups here. It's not two groups anymore. So we will have F, else, F. So if you are under 18, you'll be a child. Else, if you are between 18 and 55, you'll be an adult. Else, you will be considered a senior. So for the adult, we used else F. So if you are not under 18, if you are 18 and until or up to 55, you'll be an adult. So else F, you are between 18 and 55, you'll be considered an adult. Else, that means you are not under 18, you are not under 18 and between 18 and 55. The last else means that both these two were false, so you'll be considered as a senior. So let's try this example in Eclipse. I'm going to create a scanner object to read from the console. So scanner scan equals new scanner. And I'm reading from system.in. And I'm going to ask the user to enter their age. So system.out.println or print, please enter your age. And now I'm going to read that age using my scanner. So I'm going to create an integer age to store the age that we read. So scan dot next integer, so we can read the next integer that the user enters. Now that I have the age, I want to check, are they a child or are they an adult? So if age is less than 18, that means they are a child. So I'm going to print out system.out.println, and let's say child ticket. Otherwise, if they are not a child, else, that means they are 18 and above. So system.out.println, and we'll say adult ticket. Notice I did not use curly braces for the true block or the false block because we are only having one statement for that true block and only one statement for that false block. So curly braces are optional, so you do not have to type them in. So we'll read the age. Once we read that age, we'll compare it with 18. If it's less than 18, we are printing out child ticket. If it's greater than 18, we are printing out adult ticket. So let's save and run. It's asking me for the age. I'm going to enter 12, and I got child ticket. Let's try something that is greater than 18, so 78, and I got an adult ticket. Now we are changing our system. We want to give seniors a discount, so we want to give them a senior ticket. So adults will be between 18 and 55. So the next condition I have to check for adults is, are they between 18 and 55? So I can have another condition here. So else if the age is greater than or equal to 18 and the age is less than 55. So if the age is greater than or equal to 18 and the age is less than 55, actually we can put equal here so we can include the 55 too. So if the age is between 18 and 55, we are going to print an adult ticket. Now else, I will print system.out.println senior ticket. So we first check the first condition. The first condition, are they under 18? If they are, we are printing child ticket, and we are skipping the other false blocks. These are the false blocks. If that condition is false, we are checking the else here. We have another condition. If that condition is true, we'll execute the true block for that condition. Otherwise, we'll execute this block. So if the age was 78, 78 is not less than 18. We are checking this condition. 78 is not between 18 and 55. So we'll go execute this part, which means it's a senior ticket for the age 75. So let's try to run it. I'm going to try again with 12 or 13. We got child ticket. Let's try it with 24 or 23. We got an adult ticket. And let's try it with something above 55, so 76 76, for example, and we got a senior ticket. We can also have our if statements inside the true or false block of another if statement, and that's what we call nested if statements. We usually use that if the first if statement does not have all the required information. So we need more information, and that's why we need another if statement to check another condition. So for example, we are looking at a voting application. So we are checking that the age is over 18. So this is my first condition. We also want to check that whoever is voting is also a US citizen for them to be able to vote. So we have more than one condition. Now, instead of using and inside our if condition, our main if condition, we can use a nested if statement so we can exactly know which condition is false. So is it the age condition that is false, or is it the US citizenship condition that is false? So let's look at this example. In this example, I'm checking if x is equal to 2, and this whole block is actually my true block. Because we have an if statement, this whole thing is considered as one statement. So if x is equal to 2, we will be executing this part of the code. This part of the code has another if inside it. If y is equal to x. So if this condition is true, that means this also is true. So we are printing out x and y are equal to 2. Because x was equal to 2 and y is equal to x, which is 2. So both of them are equal to 2. Now I have an else. This else belongs to the closest f. So the closest f that we have here is this condition. Is y equal to x? So if we reached here, that means we are inside the true block of this statement. That means x is equal to 2. However, y is not equal to x, which means y is not equal to 2. So we are printing out that x is equal to 2, but y is not equal to 2. Now, if we want to check that x is equal to 2 and we do not care about the value of y, we can enforce that using the curly braces. So if x is equal to 2 and y is equal to x, we are printing out that x and y are equal to 2. Else, now since this is in the curly braces, that means this is the true block for this if statement, and this is the else block, this is the false block for this if statement. So else means the x was not equal to 2. So I do not care what y was equal to. I'm just checking that x is not equal to 2, so I'm printing out x does not equal 2. So the else, again, belongs to this if statement because my true block only contains this if that does not have any else assigned to it. Remember, else, or the false block, is optional, so this if statement does not have a false block. So if y was not equal to 2, we are not actually printing out anything. So let's try that example in Eclipse. Let me create an integer a, or x, equals 2, and then an integer y, and let's assign it the value 2 for now. I'm going to check if x is equal to 2, if x is equal to y. I'm going to print out system.out.println x and y are equal to. So again, we are checking x. Is it equal to 2? If it is, we are checking is x equal to y? That means y will be equal to 2. And we are printing out x and y are equal to 2. Now else, and notice in Eclipse, it will automatically indent that, so it looks like it belongs to that f. So else system.out.println, and we are saying x is equal to 2, but y is not. So when we are checking the condition, these two belong to this if statement. So if x is equal to 2, we will be executing this part. But which part are we executing, this line or this line? It depends on another condition. Is x equal to y? If x is equal to y, that means both of them are equal to 2, and that's what we are printing. If x was not equal to y, that means x is equal to 2 because we were not able to go here until we satisfied this condition. So that means x is equal to 2, but y is not. So let's save it and run it. And you will see that x and y are equal to 2. Let's change the value of y to be 3. So x is equal to 2. We are executing this part. X is not equal to y. So that means y is not equal to 2. So we are printing out x is equal to 2, but y is not. So let's check it out. So as x is equal to 2, but y is not. Now what if x was not equal to 2? So x was not equal to 2, none of these statements will be executed. So even though x is equal to y, we did not reach that part of the code because this first condition was not satisfied. So x is not equal to 2, so none of these statements will be executed. So basically nothing will be displayed to the console. Now if I wanted to display something to the console if x was not equal to 2, I can have an else statement, and this else will belong to this first if statement. So else I'm going to print out system.out.println, and I'm going to say x is not equal to 2. So if we run this now, you'll see we are getting x is not equal to 2. So the else belongs to the closest f that does not have an else assigned to it. So this else belongs to this one, and then this else will belong to this one. And in Eclipse, it automatically indents these for you. And if it doesn't, it's always a good idea to do these indentations so you know exactly the else belongs to which f in your code. Now, one problem you might have when you have multiple f's and else's is the dangling else. So you have an else that does not have an if statement assigned to it. So system.out.println, and we want to print out something here. So you'll notice I have this red underline. It will tell you that we have a syntax error. We have an else statement that does not belong to an f. So this else belongs to this f, this else belongs to this f, but this f or this else is dangling. It does not have any if statements that it belongs to. So the dangling else happens if your else clause cannot be paired with an if condition, and that will generate a compiler error. So that means your code will not be compiling. So if you look at this code, I'm checking is x equal to 2. If it is equal to 2, I'm checking is y is equal to x. If it is, I'm printing x and y are equal to 2. Else, this will be paired with this f statement. This is the closest one to it. So it will print y does not equal 2. So although x was equal to 2, y was not equal to 2. Now I have another else. This else will be paired with the first f statement. So it's going to print x does not equal 2. I have another else here that does not have a matching f, and that will generate a compiler error, which means that your code will not compile.